So cool. So basically perfume is like art.
It is art,
Art
yeah.
and music.
Come with me to ask a perfume expert 4 questions that I've been dying to know the answer to as somebody who's just getting into perfume.
How do you tell if a perfume is right for the season?
You wouldn't burn like a pina colada candle, or maybe you would, I don't know, for the like Christmas season or in the middle of winter, in the same way that you might not burn like a gingerbread candle in the middle of summer. There are certain fragrances and certain notes that we associate with different times of year. I think that kind of plays a similar role with personal fragrance as well. Additionally, you can wear any perfume you want at any time. There are a lot of factors. Sometimes it's about like weight and how heavy a fragrance feels. Something that feels particularly oppressive in a hot temperature or hot climate might feel like the perfect weight, maybe even lightweight when it's quite cold or less humid. So it just depends on like the environmental factors. Sometimes it physically is a heavier perfume, like an eau de parfum, an extrait has a higher concentration of oil versus an eau de toilette, an eau de cologne, or even like a perfume mist that's quite a bit lighter and doesn't feel like you're suffocating when it's hot or humid.
How do you start differentiating what the scents are in a perfume?
Sure, there are obviously notes that compose a fragrance. It's sort of like when you listen to music, right? Let's say you don't have a musically trained ear. You hear a song and it just sounds like a blend, like a symphony all together. Everything's playing at the same time. It's all like one piece. But when you start to break it down and listen very closely, you can be like, okay, that's the bass line there, and like that's the soprano line, and I can hear the strings here, that's the violin, and you can sort of deconstruct it in that way. Like train your nose, you can start to pick apart where the notes are and what you're smelling, and it becomes easier and easier over time. It doesn't happen overnight. I'm still working on it, and now I'm like, okay, I know there's iris in there, that's a patchouli base, but that takes a lot of like matching a scent to a note and like looking up what those notes are.
Say there's a first-time visitor to Paris and they don't know much about perfume and they're willing to spend up to $100. What's like one classic staple that they should have in their collection?
It's a great question. It very much depends on like the style and the person and what they're going for and where they're going to wear it and when. My cousin came and she had kind of a similar thing. She was like, I wear Marc Jacobs Daisy. I want to have a French fragrance. Like I want something that I will remember Paris by. I took her to Guerlain. I think that is such like a signature, like classic historic French house. And you don't have to buy the really, really expensive ones. They have the Aqua Allegoria set. And I believe you can get the 100 milliliters for 80 to 100 euros. They have a ton. They tend to be fragrances that most people like. They're very like universally likable. It's not too complex, not too like avant-garde, like pushing the limits where you're like, what does this smell like? It stays in a very like happy, friendly, like neutral place, but things that are very like classy, sophisticated, refined, and feel very French.
Last question, what would you say is one classic mainstream French perfume that you actually love and don't think is overhyped?
Ooh, I'm kind of a sucker for Chanel. I love their Les Exclusifs, which is not as mainstream, but I think that is a beautiful collection. And I really love their Les Eaux collection, which is much more affordable, and you can get them in the States as well. I believe they're also around $100. I really love Paris Paris, Paris Venise, and Paris Riviera.